right, good morning, everyone. My name is Kevin Barrett. I'm a certified leadership coach and the owner of True North Professional Development. Today, I have the great pleasure of welcoming Patty Hearns. Patty is a graduate of our Becoming a Success-Minded Leader program. She graduated back in June of 2022, and we've asked her to join to share how that program impacts her leadership approach now. So welcome, Patty.
Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Great to have you. So, Patty, before we get started, I want to take a moment just to frame out for our viewers our programs so that they kind of have an understanding of how they work and what that's all about. The program that Patty attended is one of two programs in our Success-Minded Leadership Development programs. Success-Minded Leader programs are based on interviews with hundreds of people that Dr. Julie Miller did as a part of research that she did into what makes people successful. And so in her interviews with people that were at the top of her field, Dr. Miller noted that while the path to success varied widely for these people, there were 9 characteristics that came up repeatedly. And these 9 characteristics are what we call the 9 success mindsets. They are a fundamental building block in helping people build leadership capability. In fact, both programs utilize the Miller Success Factors Assessment, or MSFA, and that helps you determine how those 9 success mindsets show up for you and where you perhaps need to strengthen them in your approach. So as I mentioned, we have 2 programs. Becoming a Success-Minded Leader is a program designed specifically for those who lead both strategy and people. So those would include business owners, executives, directors, senior managers, and seasoned program managers or project managers. And then we have a Fast Track to Success program. That's our second program. That is designed for people who lead people and tasks. And what we do with those, that program is that's specifically designed for new managers or supervisors and new project managers. So we've had the great pleasure of working with a wide variety of attendees from various different companies. We keep our cohort relatively small so that we can get the most interaction possible between our cohort members. And we have public programs that run quarterly. We can also bring those programs into any organization as well. So you can get more information about that at successmindedleader.com. And so with that, again, I welcome Patty Hearns. Great to have you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Patty, you completed the Becoming a Success-Minded Leader program about 16 months ago. So again, that is designed for people who manage strategy and people. So I'd love to have you just tell us a little bit about how that program informs your leadership style now.
Oh, wow. This program was very eye-opening in showing me areas that I really didn't give energy to, if that makes sense. I believe the best leaders are balanced leaders, right? And through the program, I found that there are areas that I just so naturally knee-jerk fall on, that I'm automatically good at. But how much I was missing in some of the areas that I actually struggled with was because I wasn't focused on those other areas I was not as naturally gifted at, if you want to call it that. One of those areas was vision. I have great vision. I constantly have in my mind, a vision. I've got a mission established. I've got all this stuff in my mind, but I wasn't good at sharing that and gaining the buy-in with my team towards that same mission or towards the vision and the path that we're going to go forward with. So that was one of the big areas that I've learned I needed to grow in and take some time to ensure I was sharing that. There was also a couple other areas I found, self-motivation and perseverance. I've always thought I was one that persevered through anything, but I found that when roadblocks would come up, it would slow me down. And through this program, it caused me to stop and say, why am I slowing down? What is happening to where I could overcome that hurdle and persevere through even better than I thought I was doing, if that makes sense. So.
Yeah, it sure does. And I think a lot of people experience that with 1 or 2 or 3 of the mindsets where they thought that was a strength of theirs and perhaps it wasn't, or they were surprised at something that was very low because they thought it was something that was prevalent in their leadership style. So one of the things that leads to the next question, which is one of the things that a lot of our cohort members mention, is that there's a lot of self-reflection in this program. And in fact, they kind of feel like almost too much at the beginning. And then by the end of the programs, they are talking to us about the fact that they really appreciated the structure of that self-reflection and really wish that piece of it could continue. And so I wonder if you experienced the same thing, how you experienced that whole concept of self-reflection.
Oh, what you just explained is exactly what I experienced at the beginning. It was difficult for me. Matter of fact, there was one activity I remember us doing that I had the hardest time grasping how to do. And it really was a bit of just removing yourself from a situation, looking at it from the outside that, wow, do I use this almost every day? Yes. As a matter of fact, when I talk about the perseverance, that was one of my hangups, is it was hard for me to step back and look at it through non-emotional eyes, because I am a feeler. I feel things. So it was such a great opportunity. The self-reflection also not only helped me to slow down for myself, but in many regards, it helped me to pull back and say, am I really approaching this program or this project or this situation with a balanced mindset? Because I am a feeler. Historically, I'd be running forward with just feelings rather than with the facts, if that makes sense. So it really caused me not just to slow down and look at myself, but slow down and look at everything.
Yeah.
So,
and my next question was really about the 9 success mindsets and how you've developed around that. So I'm curious, were there some mindsets that maybe were surprised that were more at the bottom that you thought you had a better grasp on and really had to kind of look at how you could improve that?
for sure. I kind of feel like a broken record, but that perseverance thing, I remember when I got my report back thinking, this is wrong. I've got this down. No, I really didn't. And I think the other one that kind of surprised me was towards the top was the vision, because I always thought that am I really someone that's visionary? And it was going through the program, I saw that, yes, actually I am. I'm just not good at getting it out. So those are two of the big ones. But on the bottom, that perseverance thing, that was almost a big blow for me, because I've made it through so many things. I know how to persevere. Well, I do. It just stops me in my tracks for a while.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
But I also believe that I've not completed this journey of utilizing these mindsets. I recently opened up the report that you're talking about, the analysis, and looked and saw, I need to revisit these again. I need to sit down and really see if there's any areas I'm lacking still, and I do that through what we just talked about, self-reflection. I just came through a big project, and that's what I started to do. I haven't finished it yet, going one by one. How did I do in this leadership opportunity I had for this huge project in each of these mindsets? What can I do better next time?
Yeah.
That's
great.
Yeah,
so
powerful.
Self-reflection continues.
Self-reflection has now, I can't believe I'm saying this because I'm such a fast goer. It's become a very important part of my life. Even in the middle of a conversation where I used to just push on through, I've learned to stop, pause, and think. Don't just go off of what first comes to mind, because I've learned when I pause and reflect on what's going on inside this brain of mine, that there's far more in there that I can utilize than what's just coming knee jerk. So.
Yeah. And I hear that from so many cohort members that say that probably one of the best things that they learned was the ability to just pause and hold on. There's more I could be doing, or there's more for me to look at. Right. So
for sure.
One of the things as the program moves forward, very often I get compliments at the end, and our coaches get compliments at the end about the impact that the coaches have had on our cohort members. But invariably, many of them also say, actually what was more impactful to me was the other cohort members and the coaching that we did with each other. And everybody kind of at the same point in the program, but learning how to coach each other effectively, and that has made a big impact on them taking it back in terms of the coaching their own teams. So I wonder if you've experienced that same thing, and how connected are you with those cohort members?
Well, a couple of them I speak to often. And that was so big to me. Because usually when you're in a coaching situation, it's a one-on-one, right? So you go in and you're getting the perspective from that coach. And of course, coaching isn't about getting their perspective. But what was wonderful is these cohorts of mine all had different strengths in different areas that we were focused on for this program. So in areas that I was lacking, it was interesting how they would coach me in that area. I didn't get coaching in the areas I was naturally good at, right? So, and it wasn't just on the mindsets, it was on other things as well. That group approach was powerful, fabulous. I can't say enough about it. And then on top of that, to be able to coach, what a way to really hone in on a skill that's so important in leadership. I do work with leaders in our organization, and I'm amazed on how many times I talk about coaching and they're like, oh yeah, I'm a coach. I tell my team they need to do this and that and this and that all the time. Oh, you're missing it, right? What a fabulous opportunity to not only get to be coached, but to coach and have someone, in my case, yourself, Kevin, providing feedback on my coaching skills, on what I could improve on. Wow, I need more of that. And I would seriously meet with this group anytime to gain some insight from them. It was just a win-win, and I do actually meet with one of them on an ongoing basis just for this piece, because their strengths in their world are so different than mine. So we're now having an opportunity to share these strengths with each other and grow in areas that don't come so naturally to ourselves.
Yeah.
So win-win all the way.
So true. And I know I say this in the program, but I say this very often to folks that I talk about whether a coach is right for them is, anyone can give advice, right?
Yes.
But that doesn't make them a coach.
Yes.
So often we have coaches that are out there that are just so good at giving advice, right? Like everybody came to me for advice, and so now I'm going to call myself a coach, right? And you're seeing that even internally in your organization. That's not it, right? Giving advice is not being a coach. It's really trying to help change someone's perspective. So I'm glad it had that impact on you, and that you're able to carry that into your organization as well. So one of the elements of the program, Patty, as you know, is what we call the Success Initiative. And that is where cohort members, they need to kind of put together an initiative that they're going to apply within their organization. So they're going to take their own leadership skills, everything that they're learning about the 9 success mindsets and the leadership capabilities, and they're going to create some kind of an initiative that is going to make a measurable impact in their organization. So we're 16 months later, and I know you had a very, very clear initiative in the program. I wonder if you could give me an update on that and how that's impacted your initiatives going forward.
For sure. My initiative was a big doozy. That's what I'm going to call it, a big doozy. It was huge. There was no way I was going to get it done in the time that we had for this cohort. There was just no way, because it was that big. But it got me on such a healthy path. And having, like we've just mentioned, the coaching from the peers, the cohort in itself provided me such excellent groundwork that it really allowed me to walk into it, excuse me, with a plan going forward, not just up to this moment, we're done with now the becoming a success-minded leader. So, whatever. It laid me out for the rest of that program that I was developing. It has been rolled out. Very happy with the success of that program. We are changing it. I do believe it's one of those types of things that will forever breathe and change. But I feel like it's got such a very healthy foundation. And since then, I've taken on several large projects. Just finished one about a month ago that I'm beyond proud of, if I may say so myself, on how it came to fruition. And a lot of it was from pausing and looking at these different things that I tend to not give the attention to, and pausing and ensuring that became part of my leadership, ensuring that I was sharing these things with the team that was helping me push this thing through the end, if that makes sense. So I don't see, like I said, this is a journey. I don't believe I'm done learning, but I've seen such a great impact thus far. I'm really looking forward to see where we go in the future. It makes me now excited about these big projects rather than what have I done to myself?
That's
now
awesome.
It's like, cool, we've got this. Let's go do it.
And if you don't mind, I remember specifically one particular coaching session where the cohort was coaching you and asked you a question about your process in the early stages of that initiative of why are you hanging on to everything? Like you're not delegating this out, right? And that was something that you had to kind of work through and go, yeah, you're right. I'm not delegating that out. I am trying to grasp it too hard. And then things kind of really started to loosen up for you as you started to delegate some of that stuff out.
Oh, yes, that is so definitely so. And matter of fact, it is because of that situation and seeing how much better it was by opening it up and delegating. Now I've got different input. I'm a believer in using people's strengths, but I wasn't using it in those types of situations.
Yeah.
And in this last one that I just did, that's 100% what it was about. It's not necessarily that I delegated everything, because I carried a good load myself, but it was such a teamwork. And I just said, come on, guys, let's go do it. And we did it together with me just kind of guiding us where we were going. Yeah, I absolutely loved the experience. And awesome. Thanks to the team for being so hard on me that day.
Yes, I recall that was a hard session for you, but a good one. Obviously, you came out of it very well. Within your organization, Patty, I know that we've had another member of your team that took the Fast Track to Success program, which is the program that is designed for new managers, supervisors, new project managers. And I know that you have followed her growth and development since she took the program, which I think is a little over a year ago at this point. So I wonder if you could kind of give us an update on her and what you can tell us about how that's impacted her in the organization.
Sure. I'll call her by her name. Danielle is her name. When Danielle first came to our organization, back it up just a little history, such a pleasant person, very quiet. And when they stepped her into a leadership role, I do remember at the very beginning thinking, she's so quiet though. Instantly, she reached out to me for some guidance around DISC. DISC is something that I facilitate in our organization, and wanted to be the best communicator for her team. Well, that caught my eye, because a lot of people, that's rarely do you see that be one of the first things they want to do. Danielle impresses me. She sat on several teams, she's not afraid to take leadership on aspects of things that we're working on. I'll grab that, I'll run with that. I see her stepping out of her comfort zone a lot. And she talks about the program with me when we get a chance to chit chat. She talks about the impact on her life and on herself as a leader. What I'm probably the most extremely excited about, one of the things that I oversee in our organization is recognition and yearly recognition. This year, Danielle received the People Leader for the organization. So the
Oh,
People
wow.
Leader Award for the 2023. And it is because of the leadership that she's taken on and the type of leader she is. Her peoples, I work pretty close with one of her peoples who does nothing but talk so highly about Danielle. So yeah, I'll toot Danielle's horn anytime I can. I think she's fabulous and very excited. I can't wait to see where she goes from here. She's not done growing. We're
Yeah,
just going to watch her
that's very
soar.
exciting. I have not been in touch with her now for quite some time, but it's just exciting to see that kind of growth and development. And she's so hungry for knowledge, which is really
Yes.
fantastic. I mean, it just makes the most of a program like the Fast Track to Success. So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it.
For sure.
One final question here, Patty, and that is, there's work in this program, in the Becoming a Success-Minded Leader program in particular, around managing your inner critic and being able to recognize that inner critic. We encourage you to name that inner critic and be able to kind of fend that inner critic off. I know that was quite an adventure for you and quite a path for you. So I wonder if you could give us a little bit of background on that and then where you're at with that now.
For sure. I will say that probably the greatest impact on my life, and when I say life, I mean in so many aspects beyond just being a leader, was this inner critic thing. Oh boy, I had never really recognized that there was an inner critic, that I had one, and how powerful that inner critic was. My inner critic was louder than anything else going on around me. And I mean, it took me until the middle of this program to go, oh my gosh, I've got a problem. And through the program, we were encouraged to name it. And I picked a name of someone that at one point had an extremely negative impact on my life. Without going into detail, it felt like they were trying to destroy me as a person. And I overcame it. I made it through it. And this person has no power over me anymore. Her name happens to be Melba. Love the name. So I named my inner critic Melba. And I will have verbal conversations with Melba when Melba shows up. So it's not unusual for me to say, Melba, you have no power over me. Get away.
Love it.
And I mean, I remember recently, I'm a singer. I was getting ready to sing. I was standing on the stage and my inner critic, that Melba, showed up and started putting all this doubt in my mind, which is not rare. It's rare that it shows up in that type of setting. But I literally turned around from the crowd and said, Melba, get out of here. Turned back around, put a smile on my face and hit it out of the park. So I'm such a believer in this. It's really changed me in a tremendous way and helped me overcome more than just challenges I see in leadership, which shows up a lot. It just in my everyday life, I can put her in her place and kick her to the curb, which is really fun.
It allows you to get more control as well, right?
All the way.
To be authentically you, which is part of what we really love about having that as a part of the program.
Right. And I did find that inner critic was what was slowing me down. That's why the perseverance. Now, sometimes it may have started from an outside source, but it was what my inner critic did with it.
Yeah.
Right. So in telling Melba to get out of here so I can sit down and think logically
so you can actually take that pause.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That pause is so important for me. Yeah. Yes. I'm such a fast-paced person. I have to pause in order to ensure I'm doing the best that I can do. So yeah. Melba, she's toast. Sorry.
She shows up every once in a while.
She does.
The impact of that, though, is just widely noted by attendees in our classes, and we've actually taken that component of it and put it into its own little online program as well, which is available to anybody. And I love what you did with that. I think, we've seen other folks that have done it, but maybe not perhaps as dramatically as the impact that piece of that program had on you. But it's just so important, right? It's so important to understand those negative voices that are, coming at you and the impact that they're having on your performance, not only at work, but at home as well. So,
Sure, for sure.
yeah.
And what's also interesting is once you step through a journey like this, you see it in other people. So I'm encouraging other people, which now that I know that you've got this opportunity, we'll be pushing them to that, because I encourage many people to name their inner critic, and to see the value of them asking them to leave or telling them to leave. So yeah. I use it all the time in my own coaching opportunities. So
awesome. Well, Patty, thank you so much for attending today. And I really appreciate the opportunity to really get a good sense of where you are 16 months later, coming out of the program. And as always, appreciate you as an individual as well. For everybody else, just to let you know, if you're interested in more of our programs, go to successmindedleader.com. You can also reach out to me. Again, my name is Kevin Barrett. I'm the head of True North Professional Development and a certified leadership coach. You can always reach me at 425-835-2124. And again, Patty, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. This is such an honor.